some of them are completely silly. Like I want to learn to actually battle braid my hair because shock, I can't actually braid my own hair. So I'm going to learn how to tame this mane.
Hey guys, this is Keeping Connected by the PTO. My name is Till Schenk and I've got another fantastic PTO member with me today. A lady from the UK who's most notably known for her amazing work at the local zoo. Lucy Charles, how are you?
Oh yeah, I'm great, thanks, Till. I'm obviously hanging at home like everyone else. I haven't been to the zoo for a little while, but I did used to work at a zoo. Very random.
Which is very, very random. In between sporting careers, why a zoo?
So it was a local zoo. My parents actually had like their wedding reception there. So pretty cool place to have a wedding reception, but I ended up having a job in like the online marketing team. So I combined my love of kind of social media marketing and animals all in one. And I was doing that whilst training to be a personal trainer. So it was kind of, yeah, in the middle of being a swimmer and being a triathlete.
Do you have like a lifelong free pass now or something like that?
Yeah, I am pretty much allowed to go back when I want. A little while ago, Reese loves penguins, so we went and had like a whole penguin experience, and you get to go in with the penguins and feed them all. So yeah, it's not a bad place to be able to go when you want.
That's actually pretty cool. Speaking of which, where are you hiding Reese?
So Reese, I think he's somewhere. We're actually living with his parents at the moment, as that is where this pain cave is. So I imagine he's probably got roped into some chores with his mum right now. She's cleaning out the kitchen cupboards, so he's probably helping with that.
So somebody has to. So that explains the boxing ring. His dad used to box, right?
Yeah, so Reese's dad was a pro boxer, and then he built this little outbuilding at the back of his house so he could train. So we've got a pretty much almost full-size boxing ring in here. And then he actually did his first 70.3 last year, so he's not complaining that we've made it into like a triathlon pain cave because he does his tri training in here as well now.
It looks pretty cool. Like I saw some of your training videos. There's like a huge poster of you, and I think just over your shoulder now we can see a finish time.
Yeah, that was from Kona 2018, I think.
So why were the parents now? Is it just a better setup or?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're trying to stay at home as much as possible, so we didn't want to be commuting from our flat to Reese's parents, so we can help them out as well. Reese's mum and dad have 2 dogs. We obviously have our little dog. Reese's mum is like on the extremely vulnerable list, so she can't go out at all. So we are walking the dogs for her every morning just so that they're calm for the rest of the day. So that's like our little job. And as I said, Reese is probably getting roped into a lot more chores now. But it's quite nice. We're all together, and then Reese and I can come and escape into our little pain cave to get away from them when it gets a bit hectic.
So now I know why Reese isn't here, but where is Lola?
God knows where Lola is. She is a little pest. She's probably in the garden digging up holes at the moment. She just is like a little tearabout. So, yeah.
She looks very energetic in some of the videos.
Yeah, so she's only 8 months. She's 4 kilos, so she's a tiny little thing. And she's already up to running like 12K with us on our steady runs. And she'll come home and it's like she hasn't done anything. So we've been experimenting with ways to wear her out. So we've got one of those ball launcher things. So the ball gets launched like miles and she just runs after it, and she's doing like 100 sprints a morning, and that's just about wearing her out. So yeah, it's been hard work.
Oh, I bet 8 months. Wow, that is young. But is it nice to have?
Yeah, I think definitely, like, we always wanted a dog, but during this time it's been just the best thing to have that cute little distraction there. We're trying to teach her tricks and kind of train her up better because she's a typical Jack Russell who just wants to pull on the lead. So we're trying to lead train her better at the moment, which for some reason Reese is more the dog whisperer than me, and it's really annoying, but it's quite fun.
So who's spoiling her more?
Probably me. I do spoil her quite a lot and buy her like outfits, which we've kind of stopped doing, but at Christmas she just got bought tons of outfits. So we're trying not to spoil her too much.
So how has life changed for you with the lockdown? Like, did it change, or did you have that entire setup beforehand anyways?
Yeah, I mean, we've been very lucky that where we live, because it's so busy here on the edge of London, we've always done most of our training indoors. So not a huge amount has changed, but we actually live on an amazing forest. So we do like to go out and run in the trails in there, or go ride our mountain bikes. And at the weekend, we'd set up a really good group ride to go out on the weekends. Obviously, we haven't been able to do that, but we've been kind of taking that group ride online and all riding together, and so we can actually still have that social side whilst being indoors. But I think maybe for a lot of endurance athletes, this is kind of like our calling. Like we've trained for this, and we probably can manage it quite well. But there's definitely been times where it's been super tough because we don't know when we're going to be racing next. So you're almost like, what am I training for? And it can be quite difficult. So we've tried to set kind of small goals to work towards during this time. Some of them are completely silly, like I want to learn to actually battle braid my hair, because shock, I can't actually braid my own hair.
What?
So I'm going to learn how to tame this mane.
How did this whole battle braid thing start? It's all over the internet now. You get messages from everywhere of little girls and women and everybody out there racing with the Lucy Charles battle braids. How did it start?
Yeah, it just started from my first ever like triathlon, where I was like, I want to have my hair in braids because, one, I just really like how that looks, and two, I've obviously got a lot of hair. So it keeps it out the way, out of my face, and I can just focus on what I'm doing. And then that suddenly evolved into the battle braids, which seemed to just really catch on. I think, like you said, a lot of women and young girls can relate to it. So it just is installing that power, I think, and us going into battle when we race.
Oh, it's amazing to watch from the outside when you repost some of the pictures and you see those happy, smiling girls and everything ready for their race and their adventure. It's awesome. It's really, really cool. It's like you just mentioned your first, like it goes back to your first triathlon. I remember very vividly the first time I met you, because do you remember that I made a complete ass out of myself over breakfast?
Oh, I don't remember you doing that, but I do remember meeting you for the first time. I think I was going to be doing my first pro race at Ironman Lanzarote, and we was with James Mitchell, the photographer. But yeah, I don't remember you stuffing anything up. I always remember you being very smiley and friendly.
That's very good. Then we leave it at that. It's like I still, yeah. I remember ripping into an age group athlete for having an Ironman tattoo while sitting across from you having breakfast, and literally as I'm getting up to get second servings, I'm looking down at your leg and I'm like, ground, open up, please. So that is one of my very first memories. Yeah. I'm glad you forgot.
I think I'm like probably the only pro with the Ironman tattoo, and it just basically goes back to the fact that when I did that first Ironman, I never thought I would be doing another one. I just thought that would be, I've done this amazing long distance triathlon, I've ticked the box, I can tell people I've done it, and I'll go back to being a personal trainer and kind of can say, well, I've done this really long distance triathlon, so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to training you. But yeah, it just changed my life, triathlon, and I've been hooked ever since. So you
have come a long way from, oh, let's just do one, to where you are, and you're a puppy in long distance racing. You have so many years ahead, so, and still chasing goals. So I mean, there's the obvious one, that you stop being second. So here's the thing: seeing you and experiencing you throughout the year and everything, you seem utterly driven to take that top spot, to prove you're the best female long distance triathlete in the world. And yet you look so happy and still satisfied coming home with a second. How does that work?
Yeah, I think I have two main motives. One is always that I want to win. I'm not going to lie. That is who I am. I've always wanted to do that. But the second is that every race I go into, if I've given it absolutely every ounce of my being and I have nothing left when I cross the line, then I'm super happy. Even if that is not winning the race. So I know, like, those last 3 years at the World Champs, I've just given absolutely everything I have, and finish knowing I have nothing left. So yeah, it's super tough, and every year I think this is going to be the year that I'm going to get the win, but I know every year I'm improving year on year as well, but yeah, it's getting pretty tough now 3 times in a row, but hopefully the next time it's going to be the one.
Oh, hopefully we see a time this year. I
Hopefully.
sure hope so. Yeah, I'm still hoping that there's going to be some form or shape of the Collins Cup, because I was really looking forward, especially to see an athlete like you in it, because it's going to be tactics in everything, and like how will you be seeded against others, like focusing on the swimming ability and so on. Are you bummed out that it's not happening?
Yeah, I was so excited for the Collins Cup this year. It was like obviously one of the biggest things on the calendar, completely new, and also to be on the team with most girls that are normally my rivals was going to be quite exciting, because I know that it's always a very friendly rivalry anyway, but actually to be on the same team, having tactics, deciding what order we're going to race in, who we're going to match up against, was just completely new. And obviously there's so much talent in the women's field now that it would be super tactical. So yeah, I mean, if that race is able to go ahead in some other form, then I'd be so excited for that.
Did you have a little bit of a look at the start list of Team US and International, and like think about it already, who you would like to race, or did you not bother too much?
I had a little look, and I loved the wild card element as well. So it was who these other teams could potentially bring in. That excited me quite a lot. But I kind of have said in a few interviews that I always love to race Sarah Crowley. So she would be someone who I'd enjoy to be matched up against. We've had a good few battles over the years already. And I know she's very similar to me in that she will put absolutely every ounce of her being into a race. So she's always a great person to match up against, because you know you're going to get in a dogfight and it's going to be brutal. But yeah, it makes for good racing.
Oh, you have shown us some good battles, and I reckon she probably would have loved to have a rematch from last year. How? Like literally how? How did you come back from that?
Oh, I mean, it was so tough. Like on that run, I was probably having some of the darkest moments of like any race I've ever had. I was just falling apart. But I always kind of have this point where I have to look back on the training that I've done. So when I go into any race, I kind of, in my head, have like my top 5 hardest sessions that I got through. And I was just on that run thinking, look, you did that session, you absolutely killed it. Like, you've got this, you've got to be able to dig out and get something else. So it definitely was tough, but I just, like I said, I had to dig deep, find that extra little %. And I didn't want to move back a spot. For the last, obviously 2 years prior, I'd been second. I didn't want to go any further back than second. So I just kind of had to kick on that last, I think we probably had about 2 miles left, and I just had to kick on and hope that it was enough. But it hurt like hell, but it was definitely worth it.
The mental strength you need for it, is it something you always had, or something you learned?
Yeah, I think I've always had it. Like my parents said growing up, I was just so competitive, like, and I always would want to win whatever we were doing. And I've got a younger sister, I used to drive her mad, but I also think it's something that I probably do to Reece a lot, and it drives him mad, because if we go out for a run and I can't quite keep up with his pace, I kind of will have a moment where I'm like, oh, I can't do this, and let him go, and then I'm like, hang on, no, and I have to reel him back in. And it happens quite a lot, and I know it probably drives him absolutely mad, but I'm just like, I always am competitive, and I always probably just find that extra little % if I need to.
Do you have more triathlon goals, or are you like, well, I'm in my mid-20s. I'm like, I'm going to take the crown there. I'm going to win the Collins Cup with Team Europe, and then I'm going to start playing professional baseball. Or like, what's the next?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a lot of lofty goals. I mean, winning the World Champs is definitely one that I just want to tick off, because it's starting to get frustrating. But also, like, during this time, I've been really enjoying doing like Swift racing and things like that. And I could see myself trying to do a bit more of that, because already I can see massive improvements on the bike. And actually, it's far more tactical than I thought. I've done some Swift racing before and always just thought if you just go max, you're going to win. But it doesn't work like that. It's actually so tactical. So I've been trying to learn that, which I found quite exciting. And then obviously before, I kind of may have slipped up and said that I wanted to do the Olympic distance for triathlon. And it's definitely something that I'm not putting to bed yet. Like, I am young enough, and I think if I can win the long distance stuff, then maybe I'll have a little think about doing that. But I don't know. I never know. And obviously, yeah, there's things like the Collins Cup and all these potential races. So yeah, the goals are kind of flying all around everywhere at the moment. But yeah, I just can't wait to actually get back to racing so that we can have a bit more structured focus of where these goals are all going.
Wow, I will never write you off, but you live in a terribly competitive country for Olympic distance racing on the women's side.
Yeah, we definitely do. There's a lot of talent there, but yeah, who knows what could happen.
I remember you talking about when you said you're going to do your first long distance, it sounded almost more stubborn. You had no idea what you were doing, but you told everybody you will. Is that like a general mindset that you have, that you can, if you put your mind to it, you can do it?
Yeah, definitely. I think with that first Ironman, that's definitely what happened. Like Reese and I signed up for the event, and then we pretty much told everyone, this is what we're doing. We're going to be doing this, really not knowing the scale of the challenge that we'd signed up for. But we knew that whatever happens, we were going to make it work. We were going to do it. And I think that's probably been my mindset from a very young age. I always wanted to do like the toughest event. So as a swimmer, when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I wanted to do the 200 butterfly because I thought that was the hardest. And I knew however hard it was going to be, I was going to do it. And then eventually like work my way up to doing the marathon swim distance. And the same thing, I'd never swum a 10K before, but I knew however bad it got, even if I was swimming with one arm, I was going to finish. So yeah, it's probably a bit mental, but that's just how my brain works. Yeah.
Mental seems to be working for you, so don't change it. But speaking of working with, what makes Reese and you work? You guys spend so much time together. You both race professionally. So, I mean, like long distance training now, that's guaranteed low blood sugar, exhaustion and everything. And then being stuck together, how do you make it work? What's your secret?
Yeah, we do get asked this question a lot because obviously, as most couples, this time now is probably a hard time because they might not have spent a lot of time together with separate jobs and now living in one house. Whereas Reese and I probably over the last 8-9 years have spent nearly 24/7 together every day of the year, which probably isn't that normal, but it's just seemed to work. We obviously met as swimmers, which was a high pressure, high competitive environment. And Reese was always the person I looked up to kind of as the coach figure then. He always had the best advice. He always would research things. Without him, I wouldn't have got through that first Ironman because he actually went into the science side of things, whereas I just thought, I hadn't even thought about, actually, I might need to eat something during this. And he was the one who came up with a fueling strategy to get us through it. So yeah, he's always been the mastermind behind the operation, I guess. And I've just been the one going along and maybe working pretty hard, but trying to keep it fun. We always keep it fun. That's been like, when we came into triathlon from swimming, our main goal was to keep it fun because we knew we'd probably be more successful if we could keep it fun. And even now, like we always have to throw in an element of fun with our training. So whether that's doing some Zwift racing or going out and trying to beat a Strava segment, we always do those silly things just to make it more interesting. So yeah, there's definitely times where we're so tired and grumpy, but we've just learnt to kind of maybe separate and take a step back during those times. But yeah, most of the time it's a good happy harmony, and it definitely helps now that we have a dog as well. That's a nice distraction at times.
Who of you is more willing to forget about his own opinion to save the peace?
I'm checking if he's listening. I don't know. I think a lot of the time we do just compromise and that helps, but we will debate things. Like obviously Reese sets the session plan and the weekly program, and I always will debate it and say, do I need to do this or can I change it to this? And there is a bit of back and forth, and then we'll come to an agreement. So maybe I'm the one who more will kind of just step back and say, okay, I'll do that then.
Everybody's, like every coach's favorite athlete is the one who gets the plan and then questions it. How to become friends with your coach. But So you've got Reese around. You are at the parents now. How important is family in general to you? I think your sister now starts traveling more with you as well, kind of like working for you at least partially and so on as well. Is it like really important for you to have people around at races and everything?
Yeah, definitely. Like family's a huge thing for us, and when we say like Team Charles-Barclay, that is pretty much just their family. Like they all support us all the time. My sister's on board now doing a lot of our media stuff, so she can follow me day in, day out. She knows when I'm grumpy, so she knows not to put a camera in my face then. But my family have been really supportive from the off. Like when I was doing 5 a.m. swimming and they would take me to the pool. They did that for years. And then when I said I didn't want to do it anymore, obviously they were disappointed. And then when I said I wanted to do an Ironman, they thought I was crazy, but they were going to back me whatever and come and watch it. So yeah, they've just been massively supportive, and it's quite hard at the moment because I haven't seen my family for a little while. I mean, obviously we're on the road a lot, so I don't always see them anyway, but I can't wait for this all to be over so we can all get back together and probably have a massive party before we do any serious racing, I think.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of parties all over the world when this thing is over. How far do your parents live away?
They're probably only about half an hour drive, so not too far. And on the weekends, they'll normally come up and we'll do like a dog walk with them just to see them. So yeah, that's quite nice.
It's so weird not getting to do that right now. Is there anything like in this situation? You said you had the setup and everything before, but anything that you value more now than you consciously did before?
Yeah, like the off time that we would go out to dinner with our friends, which wasn't that much because we're obviously training a lot. But now all I want to do is like go out for a coffee or go out for dinner. So it's those little things that you take for granted. And I definitely won't after this. It will just be actually, these are all really nice things that we get to do that, yeah, you wouldn't think that when you get that taken away, it would mean so much.
We have established you do not yet know how to braid your hair, get your battle braids, but do you have any other more or less hidden talents other than obviously being stupidly fast as a long distance triathlete, but and a swimmer? But like, do you have any hidden talents?
I don't have any party tricks as such. I think something that's probably super boring that I'm actually really good at is like if I go on a journey once, then I will always be able to do it again without a map, without a sat nav. I will remember the way. And Reese is the complete opposite. He will deny this to his death, but his sense of directions are so bad that, and he still doesn't like to admit it, but I always could be like my little mind map of where we're going. But that's probably like really nerdy and boring. But I've got like my own little onboard sat nav.
It is impressive, not as a party trick, but like I could literally get lost in my backyard. So I find it very impressive if somebody finds his way easily. Do you consciously know your way then in those situations, or is it just imprinted and like you don't even think about where you're going the second time because it's just natural?
Yeah, I think it used to be more natural, and now I like deliberately focus on it to prove a point.
Points need to be made. I'm a little bit disappointed that we're not seeing Lola today because this has turned into a bit of a dog show, so we need to get Lola on board next time.
Reese, get Lola.
Ah, perfect.
Go and get Lola.
Get Lola.
Yeah. Yeah, Reese will get Lola.
Yeah, come and say hello.
Sunbathing.
As you do, as a Jack Russell, an 8-month young one. Bit of sunbathing out there.
The sun.
Oh, yeah? Has she seen snow yet?
Hi, Till.
Hey, Reese. How's it going?
Hey.
Oh, Reese got the lockdown haircut as well.
Yeah, there it is.
You're next.
Well, yeah, I'm afraid I might be. I did this, which I was very surprised. This was my first ever attempt at cutting my own hair. But now Pablo da Peña has decided that we're both going to shave our hair off.
Oh my God.
Since it's been recorded by the PTO, I don't think we'll get around it anymore. Obviously, you're ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
Reese,
mine was
do you
so
have any
bad.
secret hidden talents?
What's
You have
that?
a hidden talent.
Yeah.
A hidden talent?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucy claims she doesn't have any.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
Very good at snoring.
Oh,
Come on, Lola.
Ah,
Here's Lola.
hello, Lola.
Who's that?
Hey.
Yeah, why did we name you Lola? We named her Lola. I think obviously we got her after Kona because finishing second meant I earned a dog. We didn't want to name her Kona because I know a few people who have got dogs called Kona from doing Kona. And we just kind of stumbled on Lola, I think. Like, we also like the name Luna, but we didn't want Luna because we thought she might actually turn into like a lunatic, and she is a bit mad. So we went with Lola, and she seems quite exciting.
The first thing I think is Lola, the showgirl. It's perfect. It works. The name is Lola. So hold on. There was a bet, right? So
yeah.
Second was one dog. Third was no dog. Winning was 2 dogs, or what was the deal?
Yeah, so if I won, I could have 2 dogs. If I came second, I could have 1. And if I came third, then there was no dog. So I guess, yeah, another point of why I was able to dig deep was probably for a little cute dog.
So is that deal still going for the next year?
Hopefully, yeah. I hope it rolls on and it's ongoing. And it was actually really difficult because when we went to get Lola, she had a sister as well. And we nearly did get both of them. But we decided since Lola's our first dog, we would stick with just the one.
I'm very, very much enjoying those videos you guys are putting out. Very entertaining, the training videos. Is it nice actually to do, like, for yourself to do that as well? To have a little bit of a project to work on in times like this?
Yeah, it's a nice distraction. I think, obviously, normally we're so focused on training and making sure we hit every single session, whereas at the moment we're not so worried. We're trying to keep it fun, obviously look after ourselves, keep our immune systems high. So it is nice to have other little projects to work on. And probably filming the outtakes is always my favourite bit. So.
Yes, it's the favourite bit to watch. I don't want to keep you forever, but there's one thing I was wondering. So you've very quickly become a role model to so many young athletes out there, probably just because of the way you are. Very personable, very approachable. But do you have a role model for yourself in the sport?
Yeah, when I came into triathlon, obviously I didn't know a massive amount about the sport, but I quickly learned who some of like the years gone by amazing athletes have been. And Chrissy Wellington was definitely one of those for me. I've read her book, so just reading that was so inspiring. And then when I finished Kona for the first time as a pro, Chrissy was actually at the finish line, and it was the first time I properly got to meet her. So that moment will just kind of stay with me as one of the most magical moments in my sporting career. So yeah, for her as well to be a captain of our team for Team Europe, that's just epic. So yeah, I just love her personality as well. She's really crazy but really down to earth, and obviously an absolute weapon on the race course. So yeah, she's a big inspiration.